talked about this last year already. That what I found, yeah, fascinating at the same time a little bit sad was that a lot of girls felt like it is really really hard, especially as a woman, to find their passion. And I know that you guys prepared something about this topic, and I mean, I know from experience. I've seen so many amazing, empowered women who are going exactly for what they want. So I think the gender doesn't really have to be an excuse, and at the same time, it seems to be quite challenging for a lot of women. Can you go a little bit deeper into why you think that women find it quite challenging to actually go for what they want?
Yeah, I think so. I do think it's a really complex topic, and I do think that there is a gender difference. In fact, what I see a lot of is women who really, like, they know everything that they need to know, and they're still hiding, and they're still playing small, and they're still waiting. And my sense of it is something that I feel is really important in this is that women need the embodied experience of feeling powerful. We live in this culture that really promotes that for men. Like, men are really encouraged, like, feel powerful and like go to the gym and work out and be like a badass and all that stuff. It's like really part of that like gender stereotype. Whereas for women, it's not so much part of it. And when it is, it's really in that very masculine like third chakra. Like, you've got to like use your willpower and like just bite the bullet and all this. It's like the whole kind of vibe around like taking big steps and doing big things has got this very it's got a very kind of masculine feel to it, which I know for a lot of the women that I talk to, it doesn't resonate with them, and they're just like, and that's part of the thing, like part of why they then don't show up to these kinds of conferences and events is because they're like, I don't belong there. That's not my place. Like, I'm not doing big badass things. I don't feel like I'm a powerful, agent of change, whatever. Like and there's like very often with women as well, there's this question of there's a confidence thing that comes up a lot where it's like, this is one of the reasons for waiting and hiding, is like, well, I'm not confident enough yet. And that's another thing where I feel like guys are really kind of encouraged to just show up, like to really do the whole like fake it till you make it. Like if you're a guy, you have to show up as being confident, Whereas in our culture, for a woman, it's like we can totally get away with playing small. Like it's facilitated everywhere, And and so there's this kind of myth around confidence, like, oh well, like when I'm confident, I will do that thing that I want to do. I'll say the things that I want to say. I'll be the person that I want to be, and it's a total myth. And this is a big piece in most of the women that I talk to is like, well, confidence is something that we get when we do things. It's learned, it's experienced. That's how we grow our confidence muscle. And all you need to do stuff, to do anything, like no matter how big it is like outrageous courage.
I find it so fascinating. Like I just came back from an event. It was called the Awesomeness Fest. I don't know whether you heard of it, Steph.
Yeah, I'm so jealous. I saw your post on Facebook. Yeah.
It was in Costa Rica, 4 days, and it's just they made it a rule to have 50% women there. I'm not necessarily agreeing to have like a certain amount of percentage of like sex anything, but it was just such an amazing place. We were just like, it was like change makers from all over the world, very influential people. I mean, I talked to an advisor of like 3 ex-US presidents, and we shared a hug. It was amazing. It was really, really cool, very, very well thought through. And the reason why I went there actually is because a lot of people after the Lifestyle Design Convention, where you were a part of it as well, they said like, Kai, this was like the Awesomeness Fest. And I was like, what the hell is the Awesomeness Fest? So I went there and really experienced it for myself, and it was amazing. And one thing I really liked was that there was so many women, and so many really empowered women. And I also talked to them about like, we had some conversations around like finding your passion and being really passionate about something. And what they told me was also very fascinating to me, that some of them were like at the beginning afraid that it wouldn't be attractive to men, when they really follow their passion, or they would intimidate the man, and so like they would socially isolate themselves. And I was like, what the fuck? That's not true at all. Like, you literally, I find it less attractive if I can see that a woman is not really following her heart, whether that is raising children, whether that is like going for that awesome dream that she has, it doesn't matter. But as long as I don't feel that passion there, it's actually less attractive. So what I always tell those women is, like, if you want to really attract like great guys who are like following their passion and who have like great self-confidence, you need to follow yours too. Like, and I know from experience it's also harder for me to find really, really cool girls, because then, like, of course you like your huge pool of people will narrow, but like the people that you then attract automatically, if you're passionate about what you're doing, if you're really going for what you want, it's like, it's worth it. It's like worth the temporary struggle that you will just like, yeah, like you make your pool smaller, but then the people you meet are absolutely amazing. So I just want to demystify that whole thing of that you're not attractive, and like the guys who are like not like you after that, fuck them. Anyways, like, it's not the person you want to attract. So,
but Kai, just on that note, because what I actually hear most of all from women is not the fear of how they're going to come across and be perceived by men, but more from how they're going to be perceived by women. And more of
I didn't think of that. Cool, yeah.
More of the girl-on-girl judgment, you know, and all of the girls can be so mean, you know, and you know, even just walking down the street, like fully owning your shit, you know, you'll get bitchy glances sometimes. It can be pretty hardcore, and so I hear that a lot from women. I heard it just now on the retreat. All the girls were like, yeah, really, really scared of being rejected by women if I show up in all my radiant glory. And for women, that's really like the worst thing that can happen to us. Like, we're so relationship oriented, you know, and it's so important for us to be part of the tribe, and that the idea of being rejected is incredibly strong. And it's even like, I was reading Playing Big by Tara Moore this summer, and she explains, like, really in terms of like our evolutionary history, it's for basically all of human history, women have depended on their relationships with the rest of the tribe in order to survive. So for us, it's like really, really, really deep, you know, like we need to be liked, because otherwise we might die.
Holy shit. I never thought of it like that. Yeah, that's, wow. So, okay, that's now here, right? So you have this, you might have, I wasn't aware of this before, like this even deeper urge than us, because maybe I'm a feminine man, but I really, really want to be a part of like, of a tribe too. So I felt that isolation as well. I think it's just a human thing to feel that. But what you added to this is really fascinating to me as well. So, okay, that is like that, right? So you did a retreat, and like, how did you go about like overcoming this fear then?
Yeah, I'm not, yeah, my approach with fear is not really about like plucking out individual fears and looking at them and speaking with them. I don't really do that. I'm more of the mind will generate fears constantly. And that's a legitimate fear, like not the dying part, but the, you know, being rejected. Some people will reject you, always, that's life. That's, you know, it's a legitimate fear. It's allowed to be there fully. What I bring more is this possibility of, watching where we place our focus and our attention and where we give our power away. So for me, what I see women doing a lot is having all their fears and stories. So I mean, this is for sure, this is the same for guys, but I'm gonna keep it talking about women. So having all their fears and stories and placing shitloads of attention on all of those. And then also, because we still are slightly stuck in this therapy paradigm, like this healing paradigm of like, you know, I've got to look at all my stories and my fears and like got to work out like all my childhood junk and like all this stuff. And it's like, No, you don't. You really don't. But if you want to, you can spend the rest of your life doing that. But you really don't need to do that. All you need to do is shift your attention from spending so much time with all of these fears and stories. And I'm not saying that there's no merit in looking at those at all, but it's the let's say like the fast track to making change is putting your attention instead on your passion, your excitement, your turned on creativity about what you want to do. And when you're in that state, you know, it's and it needs to be really like, my focus is really about that being an embodied state, because when we're feeling that, for women, it's like, it's really in our bellies, you know, it's in our hips. And when we're feeling that, it's a really expansive feeling. It's juicy and delicious and really an expanding energy, and which is the complete opposite of fear. Like, fear cannot exist in that climate. So I'm a lot more interested in creating internal climates that just don't really leave space for fear, because, you know, I mean, our minds are always going to be generating fears because it's what they do. It's not, you know, I don't feel like there's that much value in spending a lot of time facilitating their their existence, you know.
Yeah. What rang a bell with me is like that feminine energy, and like that it is actually embodied like in the whole like hip area. I did the first workshop that we did at this Awesomeness Fest was actually a tantra workshop, where we really tapped into our feminine. And I was just like blown away by this energy, you know, like it's really amazing and it's really powerful. So that's all very nice for people to hear out there. But do you have like some stuff that they could apply now? This what you told me right now is like more of a general mindset. It's like not actually just letting your fear be there and acting anyways, right? Was there some other stuff that you have done with women, or that you know from experience works very well to go for what you want, even though there are fears?
So like, really for me, the biggest thing is shifting the focus to feeling good, and like really, like in a really, really radical way, giving yourself permission to feel good and to do what feels good. A lot of women are really stuck also in this like striving paradigm of like, I should, I must, I need to, like, I should do, I should be. There are so many stories around that. And when we shift back into, how do I want to feel, like what makes me feel really good, that we're already in a different energy state from which we can then start following our joy and following our passion. With women, there's like, really the permission thing is huge. It's so huge. Like, the permission for pleasure, for playfulness, for ease, for expansiveness. You know, there's so much constriction and tension that women are holding on to, like, in large part because we are living in this society which is really not, it doesn't facilitate us honoring our needs. And so, yeah, and then permission, like, also spreading over into really radical permission to be everything that we are. So some of the work that I do also is like with archetypes and reintegrating and owning everything that it is, like the full spectrum of what it is to be a woman. Because the issue is, like, when we're talking about having the courage to step up and do what we want to do and follow our dreams and all that stuff, like, it's really like, we need to plug into our power. And as women in the West, right now, there's like, we have a very narrow definition of what it is to be a woman. And there's a lot which is disowned at the moment. And like, a lot of women are really kind of cut off from below their solar plexus. They're not in contact with the base of where our power actually is. And so, like, yeah, tuning into that and really, like, giving ourselves radical permission to not only really feel, but also to express everything that's there, no matter what, like, no excuses, no exceptions. And that's already super radical and super courageous when women start doing that.
Is it like, when you said below the waist, is it like also with the whole quote unquote slut shaming? Is that kind of connected, that like women actually need to like suppress their sexuality and suppress their basic needs, that and like guys get celebrated when they're like that? Do you see a connection there?
Yeah, for sure. Sexuality is like such a huge thing. And that is a big part of what we need to reclaim it as ours. And it's not for men, it is ours. And then also like this question, like sexuality and sensuality have been completely fused in our culture, and they're not the same thing. And for women, it's so important for us to have permission, again, to feel sensual, because that is our natural state of being, is this really like flowing, soft, open, expansive, really juicy, like second chakra stuff. You know, this is our natural way of being. When we feel like that, we feel good, and we're plugged into our power. And for sure, like reclaiming our sexuality is a huge piece. And it's like it's really baby steps right now. Like we have a lot of work to do with that.
Do you think there are ways to fast track that?
Yes and no. I do. Well, I mean, for sure, like my fast tracking way. So I already said, like, I'm not really in the let's look at all of our shit and every way that we got hurt and everywhere that we picked up shame along the way. And I'm more like, let's just be where we want to be right now. So for sure, that's something that I'm doing in retreats now and in workshops, is creating a really safe container for us to explore that in a group of women. So it's already really big, in fact, to start reclaiming that for yourself. And then when you're doing it in a group, obviously, like this is the, shame has to be brought into contact to be dissolved, because it's a social construct. So when we do that in a group of women, that's already really, really big. And again, it's the embodied experience thing. Once you've felt what it feels like in your body, to own that and to reclaim the pleasure of that for yourself, it's an anchor that you can plug back into, and it's really that. It's like this, the embodied experience that you then just want to put yourself back into again and again, as often as you can, until that becomes the new level of normal. So I guess that would be my fast tracking thing.
Yeah. So I just wanted to add for the people who are out there right now, we have a few people connected. Like, if you have any questions, that's what a webinar is about. Oh, and there it comes, the first question. Perfect. So just keep them coming. I hope I said this right, either Inaki or Inaki. Where lies the power of women? What is the first step to start change? That was the one question that we have here.
Where lies the power of women?
Mm-hmm. Where lies the power of women was the first one. And the follow-up question is, what is the first step to start change?
Where lies the power of women? Well, there are different levels you can look at that at, right? But for sort of on an energetic level, our power is really in our second chakra. So it's our natural state of being is where I would say our power is, right? It's what's most easeful to us. And so it's really this, how can I put it? It's our ability to be receptive, to surrender, to open to what is, to flow with what's there. It's really like all of these qualities, rather than having the directional willpower forward moving piece, which is the masculine power. Our power really lies in being able to really open, really listen, and then move from there. And it's incredibly powerful, and it's fairly rare for women to even experience that, because we're so disconnected from it at this point. But it's a beautiful paradox. But surrender is the most powerful thing that you can do as a woman. Is the most powerful thing. And it's really like, I'm talking like soul level surrender, like surrender to that deepest longing that's in there.
So I tell you something, right? We're talking here about men and women, and like whatever you tell me right now, I can like so identify with it, which I find very beautiful. You know, so like that what has been such a big part for my journey as well is just to surrender to life and to trust life and really tap into that energy. So I love that. Another question is, Joshua asks, what are some of the biggest discovery you've made from leading the Wild and Free retreat that you do?
Wow, some of the biggest discoveries. I think something, well, wow, so many levels as well. I discovered that, or I rediscovered the incredible depth that you can get when you have women together in a sacred container. Like, it's nuts. And I'm sure the same is true for men, but what I found again with this was how little you actually need to do when you create a sacred container and you have women come together. Everything that needs to be shared, everything that needs to be seen, just comes out by itself, and everyone gets what they need. It's like magic, and really all you need to do is create, like I said, like create a safe container, give radical permission, and allow the women to take it where they want to take it. It's yeah, it's totally magical. It kind of blows my mind every time. It's like once you get into that state of deep presence and you bring a group into shared presence, magic.
It's awesome. A question that connects very well with that. Anna asks, is there a balance between being wild and free and still remain focused and connected?
I love that question. I love that question. And this is something that's super important for me. Like, it's, you know, I talk a lot about like all the feminine qualities that we want to be reintegrating. It's totally not about shunning like third chakra or more masculine traits at all. Like, we need that shit for sure. Like, I spent a lot of my life being very, very much in my feminine energy and not very connected to my more masculine. So that's been a struggle for me, and for sure we need to balance that. So sorry, can you just say the question again? What was is there a balance?
Yeah. Is there a balance between being wild and free and still remain focused and connected?
Yeah, so I mean, to me, being wild and free is not about, it's not about like losing control in the sense of just going nuts and like, you know, dancing on beaches for the rest of our lives. So it's you know, it's really like this. It's really more. It's mostly about the just radical permission to be everything that we are, and then you know, using our focus to channel that. But the thing is that as women, we kind of like a lot of the time we're doing things kind of the wrong way around. Like, we're just, and I think this is maybe where there's that disconnect with the passion, you know, because for women, like, yeah, we need to go into our bellies to connect to that. And if we're really stuck in our third chakra, solar plexus, like willpower, determination, I'm going to do what society expects me to do and what I need to do, and we're not plugged into our passion there. And there's something there about like about almost like developmentally, like we need to fully own and be women, and then use the, you know, the masculine qualities of focus and directionality to bring out what's in us. But that's not where we find our purpose. You know, for men it is.
I can completely feel, like, I can feel you, because I've seen both. I've seen both example also from a male perspective. I've seen women very much plugged in into their masculine, but they haven't found their feminine side, and it just kind of feels like, you know, you can also, as a man, you can feel that there is something not right. It's just, she does it for career purposes. She wants to prove something, is also a very big one. I feel like I need to prove that I can do it too. I can also pursue a career, but it comes from the wrong place. Instead of like literally living her passion, she's just like cramping her way up to show that she's as good as men. But actually women are not. They're amazing as women, right? So it's really, really strange. And then on the other side, I've seen women very much like connected with their feminine side, and at the same time have a determination, and it's a completely different story. It's different energy. It's very sexual. I feel like very sensual. I see the differentiation. It was actually very sensual, and at the same time very determined, but in a different way. Than I see like a business lady who's really got it figured out career-wise, but there is a whole lot thing, as you said, below her waist. It's all missing. You can see that difference very clearly. So I love that.
Like, you know, I will bet you that the way that she feels in her life is way less juicy and delicious than she could be feeling.
I like those words, juicy and delicious. That's awesome. So I think a lot of people are probably wondering, like, you're now not doing the classic like 9-to-5 job anymore. So what was your point where you decided like, nope, I'm actually gonna go for what I want instead of just pursuing, as Timothy Mark called it, the day job of doom?
Yeah, it took me a while. I mean, I had various day jobs that I sort of jumped out of, but without really being plugged into my passion, without really knowing kind of what I was going to do, and sort of being floaty. This time, it really just got to that point for me where I was like, well, I'm really done being intimidated by my desires. I'm done listening to my fears. I'm done buying into stories that I know are complete bullshit. So for me, it really, like, it got to a threshold. It did get extremely painful before I actually crossed the threshold. But like, I finally got there this year and was just like, right, that's it. I'm done. Now's the time. And really that piece about, like, I know it sounds super simple, but the piece about placing our awareness on our passion instead of on our fear has been huge for me. It's been probably the hugest thing. Because what we do, right, is like we're here, we have our, you know, our goal is like somewhere over here, and then we put our fears and our stories and all this limiting crap in between us and our goal. And we're like, oh my God, I've got to like go through all this crap before I can get to where I want to be. And you know, none of that is actually real. Like, we could have a wonderful metaphysical, spiritual discussion about why, but like, it doesn't matter. It's, you know, the only thing that matters is what really works, or what has really worked for me is just continuously plugging myself back in to the big why, right? The passion, like, what do I really want? What do I really deeply desire? And the why part is really important. And continuously just plugging back into that. And then really, like, there's a fabulous post that Mark Manson wrote about giving fucks. I can't remember what he called it, but it was like a post about being super mindful about where you give fucks to, or where you like where you give your fucks. It's totally fantastic. And so
called the subtle art of not giving a fuck. I'm gonna add the link right now in there. He's actually gonna be one of the speakers next year at the convention. So just
that's awesome.
Yeah. So sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Basically, but watching, you know, really watching, like, what are you giving a fuck about, and do you want to be giving a fuck about that? And like, that was part of it for me, is just I got to a point where I was like, well, I actually don't give a fuck that I'm intimidated and freaked out by my audacious dreams. You know, and it's just that at the end of the day, it's just a decision to say, well, okay, sure, I'm really scared, but I'm going to do it anyway.
That's awesome. I just thought of like, if you want to come down to the convention, you get a free ticket, so let me know, right?
Whoop, whoop. I was going to tell you, I'm going to be there anyway.
Yeah. Shit, no, that's right. Free invitation, absolutely.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, that will be really awesome. So let's talk about, like, do you do any retreats soon?
Right, well, so I just had my first one last weekend.
Awesome.
So it's still all fresh. I'm still like in my blissful post-retreat state, but I'm already planning the next one. So for most likely, I think New Year's. Also because this one was like 2 days. It was Friday evening to Sunday evening, which is way too short. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe the time. And it felt like we were in a time warp and that we'd been there for longer, but at the same time, it felt super short to me. And for all the stuff that I wanted to do, I was like, no. This next time it needs to be at least 4 days. So yeah, probably there's going to be, and I'm going to do a day workshop as well in November in Brussels. And I actually have my next really audacious dream is to have basically like a wild and free retreat for men and women. And I had this idea a few weeks ago and I can't get it out of my head. So I'm feeling like it's probably going to have to happen.
I love that so much because I talk with Anna. She's a guest now of, I think as well. No, not that Anna with one N. I'm not sure whether she's here. Anyways, with a very powerful woman, I talk with her as well, and we had long discussions about like fears of men, fears of women, and what our conclusion was is that we're actually not that different, and we are at the same time, of course. And it's but like the desires are all the same. It's like we want to, like, intimacy is such a deep desire. I mean, I've been with 4 days with the most incredible people. Like you could literally see it in their eyes. They were so motivated. And what were they craving? Intimacy, vulnerability, honesty, authenticity. It's always the same. Like, and it doesn't matter where it was women or guys, where everybody's at. Like, it's so beautiful to be myself, to really express myself, to show vulnerability, to actually say, I don't know, I have no clue about this, and I feel insecure about this, and I feel actually awesome about this, and just like to really express everything. And I found it very beautiful to see what happens if really like people are really down the path when they come together, whether it's men or women, and how wild and free it actually was. It was really awesome. It was really cool on several levels, whether that was intellectually, spiritually, from a like mental point of view, but also a sexual point of view. Everything really melted into one, which was really cool. And it was not the whole, there's still fear, right? Where there's people, there's fear, but it was much less, and it was just much more fun, and stuff got created you cannot believe, you know, like amazing like whirlpools where people just started spinning. We had breathing, we were breathing together in a tribe, and like all this magical stuff comes together if people, men and women, just connect and like just are themselves. So I really suggest a lot of people coming down, especially please women, come down to the Lifestyle Design Convention next year, 16th and 17th of January, because we really need you. Like, we really need you. And I think we can really, as like my team is now 40% women, at least, maybe almost. It will become much more of also a balance between the masculine and the feminine. What we realized last year was that there was quite a masculine energy to the whole thing. Since I'm a feminine dude, I could like kind of counterbalance, but it was still too much masculinity in that room. So we're really looking forward to have a lot of great, powerful women on board. And I'm just gonna copy paste the link if you guys are interested, and we're gonna just answer the next question right away after this. So this is the Facebook group. Connect to it if you guys and girls are interested, and this is the website where you can see all the stuff. Actually, we're gonna close our super early bird tickets in like 3 days. So if you guys want to really profit from the best price and have like the most amazing take it for really, really not a lot of money. Check that out now. So next question. Sanas is asking, I'm always confused. Isn't the goal to have a balance between male and female energy, but at the same time we expect women to be more feminine and men more masculine?
Ooh. Wow. Yeah, I think that there is, that's a tricky one. Yeah, balance, definitely, for sure. And then she uses the word expect, right?
So I mean, we expect women, yeah.
Expect. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's very interesting. I mean, so many ways you could look at that. I think that part of the reason that we expect men to be more masculine and women to be more feminine is because when a man is really in his center of masculine power, he will express himself slightly more with masculine qualities or traits than with feminine ones, and that you know, like it's a scale, you know, it's relative. So some men will be expressing themselves like way more with masculine qualities than, and only a little bit with their feminine, and same for women. But so I think that the expectation is kind of fair in that sense. Like I am a woman, I express myself mostly, I don't know how I would do it if I put it into percentages, but for sure, like I'm expressing myself much more with feminine qualities, and I'm bringing the masculine ones in as well. But so it's, you know, it's, I think when we're in our, and that's for sure something which is, you know, everyone has their individual balance, and that's something which is not very honored in our society. Like we totally have like very narrow and limiting gender stereotypes, which, you know, you could have a whole other discussion about. So that expectation piece is something that I really hope is going to kind of get blown up, you know, in the next while. I feel like that's starting to happen already, but yeah.
Yeah, and I would like to add to that I can just add the masculine perspective. But like when I got more and more connected with my masculine energy, that was actually when I could allow myself also to experience the feminine part as well. But it kind of didn't work the other way around. So I really needed to get in touch with my masculine and sexual side, and after that, after some time, I could allow myself to be vulnerable and to be open also to like the more soft and more feminine side. So I don't know whether you have a similar experience of that. But what I feel like socially, when I think of it now, it's with women, it's often, yeah, it's also strongly masculine. Yeah, so it's probably different, right?
I didn't really follow that, but
yeah, well, we talked about before about women who are very strongly in their masculine, but they haven't explored their feminine yet. Right. And I felt for guys, it's more like that journey. That's actually just my experience. You go really first into masculine, and then the feminine thing follows, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, this is just, I'm hazarding a guess, but we live in a culture that is, you know, built on masculine qualities, and like all of our structures and everything that we value and honor in our culture are the masculine qualities. So to some extent, it is easier for women also. We grow up seeing like, well, the dudes, you know, we grow up in a princess paradigm where like, if you're a chick, you get to sit around and wait for a prince to come fucking rescue you, and, you know, or like give you a magical slipper, or like, you know, whatever the freaking story is, like give you a kiss so that you wake up and get to like go and have his babies in a castle or some shit, you know? And it's, so we're not like, I've like totally just lost my train of thought.
Well, I really see what you mean. It's not, when we're talking about the feminine energy, we're not talking about something weak and reactive. like it is often described in the social norms. It's actually something very, very powerful and deep, and
Yeah.
something very proactive, right?
Yeah, I'm back. So like, so the thing is that it's, you know, to some extent when we're growing up, we're like, if we don't want to buy into that, then we're like, oh, well, I have to be like a dude, because that way I can also like be successful and be respected and, you know, and win at this game, because that's the way that the game of life is set up in our culture. So to some extent, it is also like, it's easier, or we're in a sense kind of culturally encouraged to do that thing. You know, I also grew up being like, yeah, I'm going to be a career girl. I'm going to wear black and high, giant, spiky heels all the time. I'm going to like elbow people out of my way. And it's, you know, that's the kind of cultural paradigm that's facilitating those qualities, rather than the really because the only feminine qualities that are really facilitated and honored and celebrated at all in our culture are like the mother archetype qualities, you know. Everything else is like, no, we don't want that. Like, we really don't want that.
So what do you consider, and that's another question of Inaki, what do you consider the most valuable outcome of a man reconnecting with his feminine side? I'm interested to hear your point of view.
Wow. The first thing that comes is that when men are connected to their feminine side, they give permission for women to really be women and to be fully in their feminine.
I love that. Yeah, cool. So let's go to Anna's question. I think women, or it's more actually a point of view, but I want to throw that into the conversation as well. Anna says, I think women expect men to be more masculine and often say there are no real men around. But we forget sometimes what it means to be a woman in a traditional sense. If there are no women in traditional sense anymore, men are also allowed to change.
I love that point. So the thing that brings up for me is, like, in terms of the mature masculine, the mature feminine, we are sadly lacking both at this point. So it's all very well for us women to be like, yeah, there aren't any real men around, blah. Like, what we're really longing for is that mature masculine. And it's the same thing for us. Like, there's not that much mature feminine in the world right now. And then, you know, we could squabble about, like, well, are women like getting there faster than men or something? But, like, you know, it's both. We both, and this is why I think, you know, polarity work and men and women doing this work together is so amazing, because being witnessed in that and growing together is something I think it's a huge, in my experience, it's a huge accelerator of growth for both.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I mean, again, when I from a man's perspective, when I go out, there is so much superficiality. Like I literally feel I go out oftentimes and I cannot hold a conversation with a woman because I get bored. I literally get bored because there is not a lot of enlightenment out there. You know, like, it's all about like stereotypical, very gamey conversation. We talked before about the game of life, and it's also the game of flirting with each other, right? So whenever I feel actually a woman tries to manipulate me into liking her, or like, and I think it's probably the other way around as well, like, I get so turned off when I can see those little sad patterns of like trying to make me like her by being scarce or not answering them. I'm like, oh, that's cute. Oh, sad. You're not there yet. And I think that's very much on both sides. It's just we're very scared, man. Both. As I think men are really a lot scared to be men, because they're gonna get like really bad sanctions for really being a man, for really being confident and being sexual. And I think women it's the same for women too. So let's stop this shit, really. All right, I think we got 49 minutes, and we got a lot of topics covered. If people want to get in touch with you, Seth, what would be the best way to connect with you? Is there a website or something they can connect with you?
Yeah, for sure. So my website is aquietrevolution.me.
Ocean.me. All right. And they should contact you. People, if they wanna find out more about what you do, they should go. I just added that to the chat. So if people want to go there, if they want to get in touch more with your work and stuff like that, they can do that there.
Yeah, awesome.
All right, perfect. And again, one last time, come to the Lifestyle Design Convention. It's going to be in January 16th and 17th. It is basically just 2 days packed with the most successful people in different areas of life. When I talk about successful, it's people who really are who they are. So very authentic. We believe in a world where authenticity is the new status quo, where one being just connects with one other being without the whole bullshit. And we just have a lot of people that will inspire and provoke you to do exactly that for 2 days. That's what's basically. Can you add something to that, Steph? What was your experience?
Yeah, I really wanted to already add something before, but I would have been interrupting you. Like, I totally, like what hit me so much, or what had the deepest impact on me, was how you and all of the speakers and all of the team and all of the participants, due to the context that you set up, the way that you guys showed up and the way that you set that context of authentic, like radical authenticity and vulnerability, was just mind-blowing. It totally, like, 5 minutes in, I was already totally blown away. And that's why also I would say, like, for women who are a little bit like hesitant maybe about going to sort of like a, I don't know, can we call this a personal development? Well, I guess I don't want to put labels on it, but for any women who would be hesitating about how well they would fit here, this is the most wonderfully welcoming, like intimate and vulnerable and heart-centered event. Like, it's just wonderful, and it's such a beautiful tribe, and it's a tribe that's stayed connected over the year as well, which I haven't seen from any other event. Like, that level of real connection and really caring what everyone is doing and how things are progressing, and it's a beautiful thing to be part of. Highly recommend it.
Thank you. That you probably put it 10 times better than I could have ever done. Thank you very much for that. That's awesome. Yeah, so thank you so much, guys and girls out there, to be a part of this. I really love this conversation. We set it up all spontaneously because out of some technical difficulties, but I think that's mostly the best part, to do such a conversation, to let it flow naturally. I really loved it. Thank you so much, Seth, for taking the time, for being a part of this. I really appreciate you for being here. I really appreciate every single person that has been a part of this conversation, that asked questions or just quietly was sitting there and taking it all in. I would love to have you at the event, and I would love to have you at the coming webinars that we do. If we can help you in any way, just connect with us. Just connect with us, and we can see what we can do for you. This is really our mission. Is our mission to make a better world with more impact, with more authenticity, with more honesty, with more vulnerability. That's what we're here for. So enjoy your evening, everyone out there, and have an amazing time. Bye-bye.
Bye.